Hi there. No, this is not just a video of me messing about. Actually, I thought I would work a little bit with the piano today to show a very simple concept that you can use when you compose music, or actually when you want to come up with some new ideas, and that is pedaling. And don't turn off the video yet. You maybe already know what pedaling is. If you don't, it doesn't matter. This will be helpful for you. So let's talk about it briefly on the piano. So if we just take the C scale to make this easy for us, we have then all these chords that are within the scale. If you just play those chords without doing anything to them, just say a 3-chord progression, that it's not going to be the most interesting progression or arrangement ever. So there are obviously many things you can do, but one very, very simple way that will give you an interesting effect immediately is to use a pedal note. So in this case, you would keep the C the whole time. So you go, or maybe even, and there are obviously tons of different variations you can play around with here. So I just thought I would tell you a little bit how you can get around this and try this. And you can try with any scale. I just do C now because it's easy. It's all white keys. All right, so let's start with looking at it just working with what you've got within the scale. So you can just play around with the different chords. So the whole point is to always have the bass, the C in the bass. So C works fine. You can try different positions if you want. And then D minor, E minor. Can move back. F, G, A minor, then B minor flat 5 is not maybe the, but you might find something there. So that's something you can just play around with. So let's say I like C, G, F. Very standard, typical progression there. Maybe you can try E minor, D minor, and then G. So just play around and see what you like, what works the best. But what else can you do to make it even more interesting? Well, you can try with changing the minors and majors. So when you have a major, change it into a minor and vice versa. So for example, if we can start with C again, and we go to D minor, let's change that D minor into a D major. Quite an interesting sound. So if we go to D, all right, and then we can go maybe E minor. I'm gonna change that into E major. And you might feel like this is quite dissonant, but you know, in its context, it actually works. So you can get some new interesting sounds there. We can try, for example, if you do C, and instead of going to F major, we can go to F minor. Very Disney. We gotta have the 6 there, the minor 6. Yeah, for example. So that's quite fun to play with. So you could start just trying the chords within the scale, and then you can try to just change minor to major or major to minor. Sorry. Right. Another thing you can do is to try the chords that are even more outside the scale. For example, you can just try all the chords if you go chromatically up. So we'd start with C, and then next one. We call that C sharp or D flat. And then we can jump to a whole step up to E flat or D sharp. And that's kind of a heroic theme, you know. More Spanish, perhaps. You could try that with, let's see if we have, you can have A flat or F sharp. So see? So just play around and try different triads, different chords, any of them, and see what works and what's fun to do. We can also do diminished, obviously, and the great thing about diminished is that all of them works. You can do any diminished. If you don't know what diminished chords are, it's basically chords where all the intervals are exactly the same. So you always have a minor third or 3 half steps. So we start with C, and 2, 3, that's the first interval, and then 1, 2, 3, second one, and then 1, 2, 3. So and there are only 3 of those. There's the first one, second one, third. And then the next one is the same as the first one. So using the same notes there. So that could be a nice way to build something up. Yeah, for example, something like that. It can actually be quite smooth in pop music. Right. And I forgot one that is outside the scale, sort of, but it sounds very good, and that is the minor 7th of the scale. So in this case, we're in C, that would be the B flat. It sounds so good because the B flat is the minor 7, as I said before, which is really within the scale. So it is within, it's really not that far out, and also the other notes in the chord are within the scale. So that's something you can play with. All right, so that's the basic theory. Now, what can you do with the orchestra? So the most simple thing would be to start an orchestra template like this. You know, cheating a little bit. But just so you can hear that even though it might sound like a certain style, maybe more jazz, pop on piano, it works very well. It lends itself very well to orchestra as well. If I just gonna do, for example, C and F and G. Yeah, sort of a very good hero theme there. Works really nice. If you want to do just the more sort of space Star Wars action stuff, then I would try, you know, changing the minors to majors or the other way around, or try the chords that are outside the scale. So let's just make something else very quickly, almost exactly the same way. I'm just gonna have some low strings here. Yeah, something like that. Very simple. But you know what? I instantly created something inspiring. So I don't want you to be impressed by this music that I just did in 3 seconds. I just wanted to see how much you can get out of this pedal idea. And this was just a very, very specific genre. I mean, depends on what you do with the piano, but there's so many other things you can do. I did kind of a jazzy style, and now it's just some superhero themes. But there's tons of stuff to try that. If you do figures, it's also working really well. So if I'm going to do it again, so So there's tons of stuff you can do that. So really try this out. Take a key you like. It doesn't have to be C at all, just anything you're comfortable with. Work that, find out all those chords in that scale to start with, and then try to play with the minors and the majors, and perhaps even the chords that are not within the scale. You can just go chromatically up and try each triad, and then just come up with something, maybe a superhero theme and something like that. And I guarantee you, you will have a great song. You can really go quite far with this, and then maybe more ideas will inspire you to create an even bigger piece. So even if you are a seasoned composer-songwriter, don't underestimate this little trick or tip that you might have already tried. I mean, you can create some more variety using it. For example, if you have a certain chord progression, now the next time this chord progression comes in, just use the pedaling instead. It will sort of sound the same, but it will also sound different. It's a very, very good variety tool. And also I find it's a great way to lengthen your composition to make more interest to go on for a longer time. And if you pay attention to movie music, they use pedaling all the time because it's just a great mood maker, or something's about to happen, or it really is good for emotion as well. So try it out. Anyway, if you like these kind of videos, you could really show me that by hitting that like button, write me a comment. You can even tell me what other videos you would like to see, or you can even subscribe if you want to get more videos like this. And if you really want to be a hero, you can always join my Patreon. On my Patreon page, it will be quite clear what that means and what you can do, or you can also donate me some money if you like to. Another great way to support me is to watch more of my videos and share the content with others. So, thank you very much, and until next time, this is Sam signing out. Take care.